Breaking news reports suggest Qatar has been running a secret war simulation, a stealth strike on Tel Aviv itself. Israel is now on high alert, bracing for a nightmare scenario that could change the Middle East forever. Stay tuned, because what we've uncovered will leave you shocked. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we dive into one of the most explosive and spine-chilling scenarios unfolding in the Middle East. Qatar, a small but powerful Gulf nation, has reportedly carried out a stealth strike simulation targeting none other than Tel Aviv, the beating heart of Israel. Now, this isn't an actual attack, but a military exercise designed to test exactly how such a strike would play out. And make no mistake, this simulation has sent shockwaves across intelligence communities worldwide. Why Tel Aviv? Because it represents not just a city, but Israel's lifeline, its financial hub, its cultural center, and a symbol of its survival. A stealth strike, there would be nothing short of catastrophic. And here's where it gets serious. Israeli defense systems are now said to be on high alert, monitoring Qatar's moves and running counter simulations of their own. What does this mean for the already fragile balance in the Middle East? And could Qatar really pull off something so bold against one of the most heavily defended nations on earth? Let's break this down step by step, because the details are as chilling as they are revealing. To understand why Qatar would simulate such a bold strike, we need to first look at the regional dynamics. Qatar may be small in size, but its influence stretches far beyond its borders. With one of the world's largest reserves of natural gas, it has both the financial muscle and the diplomatic leverage to punch far above its weight. For years, Qatar has walked a fine line, maintaining ties with the United States while also supporting groups that Israel considers hostile, including Hamas in Gaza. This dual approach has often put Qatar at the center of controversy. For Israel, Qatar isn't just another Gulf state, it's a wild card. And in the dangerous game of geopolitics, unpredictability can be more frightening than raw military power. That's why intelligence reports about a stealth strike simulation caused panic in Tel Aviv. From Israel's perspective, even a hypothetical attack forces them to rethink their vulnerabilities. Their missile defense system, the Iron Dome, is designed to stop rockets. But what if the threat comes in the form of stealth drones or advanced cruise missiles launched under the radar? Qatar running this simulation may be a message. We know your weaknesses and we know how to test them. So how exactly would a stealth strike simulation unfold? Military insiders suggest Qatar used advanced computer modeling combined with live drill exercises to test scenarios against Israel's most critical defenses. The focus would be on bypassing the Iron Dome, David's sling, and the Arrow missile systems, Israel's multi-layered shield against air attacks. Imagine this: swarms of low-flying drones launched simultaneously with long-range cruise missiles. The goal wouldn't be mass destruction, but confusion. Overwhelm the sensors, distract the radars, and then slip a handful of precision-guided weapons into Tel Aviv's heart. Targets might include communication hubs, energy plants, and even symbolic sites to rattle the Israeli public. This isn't just about military strategy, it's psychological warfare. Israel prides itself on security, on the belief that no enemy can pierce its defenses. A successful simulation, even on paper, chips away at that confidence. And when confidence wavers, deterrence weakens. For Qatar, running such an operation doesn't necessarily mean they plan to attack tomorrow. It may simply be a signal, a demonstration of capability. But for Israel, just the thought that Doha is gaming out Tel Aviv's destruction is enough to trigger sleepless nights at the highest levels. Now let's talk about Israel's reaction. When news of Qatar's stealth strike simulation surfaced, Israeli defense officials reportedly shifted their readiness posture. Tel Aviv is no stranger to threats. It has lived under the shadow of rockets from Gaza, missiles from Hezbollah in Lebanon, and potential strikes from Iran. But Qatar, as a direct player, that's a curveball. The Israeli military command is said to have run its own counter simulations, examining how fast their air defense could respond if multiple stealth drones approached from unexpected angles. Could they neutralize the threat before even one missile hit Tel Aviv? That's the million-dollar question. What makes this particularly sensitive is Israel's perception of Qatar's role in Gaza. Qatar has often acted as a mediator, funneling money into Gaza for humanitarian relief. Yet, from Israel's perspective, this same money has indirectly empowered Hamas. If Qatar is also exploring direct strike scenarios, Israel may view Doha as a double-faced actor, one hand holding peace talks, the other preparing for war. Behind the scenes, intelligence leaks suggest Mossad is recalibrating its surveillance on Qatari military facilities. And while no official statement has been made, Tel Aviv is quietly preparing for the worst. Let's shift the lens and look at Qatar's motivations. Why would they risk even simulating a strike on Tel Aviv? Some analysts argue this is about signaling strength to allies and rivals alike. With the region polarized, Saudi Arabia and the UAE on one side, Iran on the other, Qatar positions itself as the maverick, the one nation that refuses to be intimidated. Running a stealth strike simulation could be a way of telling both Iran and Israel what can play this game too. For Iran, it shows solidarity, a Gulf neighbor willing to challenge Israel's dominance. For Israel, it's a warning. Don't underestimate us just because of our size. There's also the domestic angle. Qataris take pride in their country's ability to punch above its weight. National pride and regional prestige play a massive role in Middle Eastern politics. A simulation like this, even if never acted upon, boosts Qatar's image as a bold, unafraid state. But make no mistake, this is a dangerous game. Every signal, every drill, every simulation increases the risk of miscalculation. And in the Middle East, miscalculations have a terrifying tendency to spiral into real wars. One of the most alarming aspects of this simulation is the potential for escalation. Israel has a long-standing doctrine of responding decisively to threats, real or perceived. If Tel Aviv's intelligence community concludes that Qatar's drills are more than just theoretical, the consequences could be severe. Preemptive cyber strikes, targeted sabotage, or even political pressure on Doha are all on the table. But escalation wouldn't stop there. Qatar hosts the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East, Al Udeid Air Base. Any confrontation between Qatar and Israel risks pulling the United States directly into the mix. Washington would be forced to choose between protecting its ally Israel and maintaining strategic ties with Qatar, which is critical for operations in the region. And then there's Iran. Tehran would seize on any rift between Qatar and Israel to expand its influence. A regional proxy war scenario is not far-fetched. Imagine Hezbollah in Lebanon stepping up attacks, or Iranian missiles being quietly funneled into Gaza. Suddenly, what started as a simulation could trigger a multi-front crisis, exactly the nightmare scenario Israel's defense planners have long feared. This is why Qatar's exercise is being treated with such gravity in Tel Aviv. The psychological effect on Israel cannot be overstated. Tel Aviv represents more than just geography. It's the symbol of Israel's modern identity, its beating economic and cultural heart. The mere idea of a Gulf state like Qatar targeting it shakes the nation's sense of invincibility. Remember, Israel's entire defense doctrine is built around deterrence. The message has always been clear: attack us, and the consequences will be devastating. But what happens when a smaller state, shielded by wealth and diplomacy, dares to test that deterrence, even in simulation? For ordinary Israelis, reports of Qatar's stealth drills create unease. If Qatar can imagine it, could Iran do it too? Could others join in? Suddenly, the Iron Dome doesn't feel unbreakable and Tel Aviv doesn't feel untouchable. That psychological shift is exactly what Qatar may have wanted, planting seeds of doubt in Israeli minds. And here's the kicker: psychological warfare is often more effective than actual strikes. Fear spreads faster than missiles. In Tel Aviv's cafes, boardrooms, and political offices, the whispers have begun. If Qatar simulates today who might act tomorrow, that ripple of anxiety is a weapon in itself, and Doha knows it. Let's not forget the international dimension. Israel has strong ties with the US, Europe, and increasingly with Arab states like the UAE and Bahrain through the Abraham Accords. News of Qatar's simulation complicates these relationships. For the US, this is a diplomatic nightmare. Washington relies heavily on Qatar's base for its Middle East operations, but it cannot ignore a potential threat to Israel. The Biden administration or any US administration would face mounting pressure from pro-Israel lobbies to rein in Doha. At the same time, alienating Qatar risks destabilizing America's regional military strategy. Europe, too, has stakes. Energy security ties them to Qatar's vast gas reserves. Will they risk that relationship for Israel's safety, or will they play both sides? These questions are already being whispered in foreign policy circles. Then there's the Arab world. Saudi Arabia and the UAE, rivals of Qatar, might secretly welcome Israel's discomfort. See, they could say, this is why Qatar cannot be trusted. Meanwhile, Iran would watch gleefully as Israel's alliances face fresh strains. In other words, Qatar's simulation doesn't just rattle Tel Aviv, it reverberates across global capitals. The ripple effects could shape Middle Eastern geopolitics for years to come. But here's the big question: could Qatar actually pull it off? Could they really hit Tel Aviv? Militarily, the odds are slim. Israel's air defenses are world-class, constantly upgraded and battle-tested. Qatar's arsenal, while growing, cannot match Israel's military might. Direct confrontation would almost certainly end in Doha's defeat. Yet, military power isn't the only measure of success. By running this simulation, Qatar has already achieved something significant. It has forced Israel and its allies to think differently, to reassess, to worry. That's the essence of asymmetric strategy, using creativity and surprise to outmaneuver a stronger opponent. And don't underestimate technology. Drones, cyber weapons, and precision missiles are changing the battlefield. A smaller nation no longer needs a massive army to make an impact. If Qatar invests heavily in these tools, and it has the resources to do so, then the possibility of a disruptive strike isn't fantasy, it's a calculated risk. So while Qatar may never launch an actual missile at Tel Aviv, the fact that it simulated one is powerful enough. Sometimes the idea of war can be more destabilizing than war itself, and in this, Qatar has already scored a point. As we wrap up, one thing is clear: Qatar's stealth strike simulation on Tel Aviv is more than just a military drill. It's a message, a warning, and a test. Israel is on high alert, recalibrating its defenses, and its allies are scrambling to interpret what this means for the region's fragile stability. This episode reminds us how volatile the Middle East remains. One simulation sparks panic, one rumor triggers readiness, and one misstep could ignite a conflict no one truly wants. In this dangerous chess game, Qatar has moved a piece that Israel cannot ignore. So where does this leave us? On edge, watching closely, wondering if the next headline will describe a drill or the real thing. Because in this part of the world, the line between simulation and reality can vanish overnight. And now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Qatar is just flexing its muscles, or could this be the first sign of something much bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update from us. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and stay safe.